Today we have with us Dr. Adewale Adesina, who will be our guest speaker for this week. Dr. Adewale Adesina is a senior lecturer in computer science and the foundation director of the Directorate of Learning Content Management Systems at the National Open University of Nigeria. Adewale focuses on the educational technology, e-learning, information management, and computer networks. His research interests are in the areas of artificial intelligence, learning technologies, internet security, computer and social media networks. As a learning facilitator, he is passionate about educational reforms and revolutionizing education. Adewale believes in providing every student with a real-life, applicable, engaging, and personalized learning in which they learn how to learn, develop character and integrity, and get inspired to become lifelong learners and ultimately world changers. At this junction, I'd like to invite Adewale Adesina to give us his presentation, after which we'll now go into a question and answer session to ask him pertinent questions about what he has said to us. You're welcome once again.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Felix, for those very warm remarks. I want to say good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to present. So I'll just be sharing some few slides, and then I guess we will be able to discuss after that. So let me share my screen. Please do let me know if it's visible enough.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay, yes, thank you. The topic is on hands-on use cases for the application of ChatGPT in assessments. Yeah, of course, this is week 7, so a lot has gone in before now, and we have looked at different applications of artificial intelligence for teaching, learning, research. And now this is a big one because assessment is one of the big areas for teaching and learning. In fact, assessment is part of learning, as they used to say, from research and from studies. And of course, assessment also forms one of the high tasking activities for lecturers and academics. It takes a lot of workload to set questions and also to mark questions or student responses. So down the years, several efforts have been made to try and see how to reduce the workload of assessments, and also to see that we develop better and quality assessment items. Progress has been made, but with the advent of AI, ChatGPT, and the likes, again, we are seeing new ways that assessment can be transformed. So this presentation is just looking at some of the use cases that we go on. So we'll explore practical applications of ChatGPT in various assessment contexts, and then we'll see a few demonstrations of real-world use cases through interactive examples, and then consider 1 or 2 best practices for integrating ChatGPT into the assessment processes, and then look at critical thinking about the future of AI in assessment. So this particular last one will be integrated with the different slides that we consider. Okay, so ChatGPT, as we know, is a large language model, which popularly called LLM. So a large language model is a type of AI, artificial intelligence, that can predictively generate text based on knowledge gained from large data sets. This is just a review of what we have been considering before now. So meaning that what the world has succeeded in doing and the world of technology is to get the whole sum of knowledge known to man available on the internet. So they've been able to get them into some form of machine or devices that is making sense out of the the full sum of that knowledge base, and is helping us to do a lot of things. So it's predicting responses based on any question we ask. So it's not as if it's, well, it looks so intelligent, but because it's able to predict what the next word will be based on what it can see on its knowledge base and inferences it can make due to millions of parameters, actually, it sounds extremely intelligent, and it looks as if it knows what it's saying. And in a lot of ways it does, because it's leveraging on knowledge that it already has from the databases. Okay, so that's just a kind of summary of what it's doing. But because of the millions of parameters, it's able to act very, very intelligently. And it's beating, of course, human beings in many, many areas. So ChatGPT is an advanced language model developed by OpenAI based on the generative pre-trained transformer. Okay, so of course it has natural language processing and generation. It has the ability to understand context and provide coherent responses. And also it can handle a wide range of topics and tasks. If you remember, well, those in computer science usually talk a lot about the Turing test, to test whether, if you're in a black box and you are getting responses, can you determine whether it's a computer or a human being? So it was a test proposed long time ago by Alan Turing, that by the time you come to find it difficult to distinguish whether this is a human or a computer, then you are reaching a high advanced level of artificial intelligence. And I tell you today, it's becoming increasingly difficult. Some tests, at least in some narrow regions, have passed the Turing test. A computer will almost be like a human being. You will not even know whether it's a computer or a human being in many instances. So yes, going straight to what we're on, ChatGPT's relevance to assessment. For me, personally, I think assessment is being transformed forever by the advent of ChatGPT and similar tools, and there are many of them, okay? So because of the ability to process and analyze large amounts of text quickly, so it has the capacity to generate human-like responses and engage in dialogue. So it's changing the landscape of education and assessment forever. So, of course, which means we have to move towards more personalized and adaptive learning. All of us don't learn at the same rate. We don't understand using the same, perhaps, method or mechanisms. Those of us in education can speak more about this. So we are moving towards a way that learning, questions, assessment will be personalized to you as a person, rather than following the industrial model of education. So there's growing need for efficient, scalable assessment solutions. Many of us know, especially in Africa, where you have large number of students. So how do you scale effective assessment? This is one problem that these language models are helping us to solve. And of course, we have to move our emphasis into higher order thinking, skills, practical application of knowledge, rather than just fact-based or the lower levels of the Bloom's taxonomy in terms of assessment or assessing knowledge or assessing students. Here is a small diagram that just tries to prompt us to think, what's our assessment focus sometimes when we want to grade as academics, okay? So some have described it in the light of AI into two: assessment of learning or assessment of doing, okay? So assessment of learning is all about testing people's knowledge and understanding. Okay, so for instance, demonstrating recall of knowledge, ability to explain concepts and things like that, recall of information, understanding of concepts. These are the domain of assessment of learning, knowledge and understanding. Then the other part is assessment of doing. So this is not just learning, but application of skills, practical demonstration, problem-solving abilities. So this is, of course, the higher order thinking kind of assessment where you really want to see demonstration of skills. So when asking questions and using ChatGPT, we want to look at what is the emphasis of our assessment? Where are we concentrating it on? And then how do we adapt our assessment philosophies, methodologies, or practices to align with these two areas? So going further, the JISC committee, that's Joint Information System Committee, basically a UK-aligned body, kind of discussed assessment strategies in an interesting way. That, okay, are you doing assessment for learning, assessment for doing? After that, your strategy, where does it fit in? One, is it embracing AI, that is allowing or encouraging AI use in assessment, even by students? So this is to focus on authenticity and integrity. So you allow use, but you make sure that it's being used with integrity and that the student comes up with authentic responses, using AI more as an aid or as a help, okay, but graded. Then there is the second approach, according to them, regarding assessment. So here is saying avoid assessment entirely, avoidance. So that means that we prevent the use of AI and use our normal conventional way of grading. Okay, so that means, of course, it has to be maybe face-to-face or highly controlled exams. So that's the second approach. Then the third approach is outrun. So what this means is you design assessment in such a way that it will beat any AI. So you'll be asking questions that the AI will find it very, very difficult to answer. So lecturers have to think of designing complex questions. For instance, what did I eat, or what did I tell you yesterday morning, for instance? And AI may not give you that answer because you are trying to outrun the AI, thinking of questions that AI, assessment items that AI cannot complete. So, but of course, it requires understanding of AI capability. So this is shaping the landscape of assessment today. So the question is, where do you lie as a person or as an institution regarding application of AI in assessment? Is it to embrace it? Is it to avoid it? Or is it to outrun it? Okay. But it's food for thought. The URL is here. We can study it more, and I think it gives a very good context for this. So let's look at some use cases of AI in assessment. I believe this topic already kind of presupposes that we're either trying to outrun or embracing AI, perhaps more linked towards embracing AI, as we are talking about using ChatGPT in practical cases in assessment. Or generally, let's just find out what is available. So for me, because AI, ChatGPT with the multimodal ChatGPT 4.0 now, and many, many intelligent models coming up, you find out that it's becoming much more difficult to even distinguish a text that is AI written or human written. Or even if it's AI written, it can be amended such that it passes many tests. Okay, and then even if it is human written, some tests, some AI tests, if you're trying to check, it will tell you that that text is AI written, why you wrote it yourself. And we will come to that a little bit. But an important fact is that the quality of the output we get depends on the quality of our prompt. That's why you keep hearing prompt engineering is perhaps the biggest skill that people will need to learn today, how to develop good prompts. So if as academics, when we are designing assessment items, the quality of prompt we give will determine the quality of questions that we're able to get. And even while marking with ChatGPT, for instance, it will also determine the quality of our prompt will determine the quality of answers we get. I have here example prompts, and because I feel that a best way to use ChatGPT is to look at how to prompt it to give it the type of question you want that satisfies your need or your level of engagement with AI. And there are many of them, but I just have here 4 major bullet points here that we might like to see. I'll share with us. Let me just reshare my screen and go straight to the browser to show some of the prompts that we can use. Can you see my screen, this browser screen moving up and down?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So you can see that many of these points are very recent. This is May. Using ChatGPT prompt to generate assessment questions with examples. Okay, so what does this do? For instance, multiple choice. It says here, generate an easy multiple choice question on photosynthesis, okay, for middle school students or for university students, or level 1 student, undergraduate students, and all that. And then you just give it that prompt. So, or create a culturally inclusive multi-choice question on ancient civilization. Okay. So gone are the days where even just multiple choice questions alone you focus on. You can look at fill in the blank. So create a fill in the blank question about water cycle. So generate a question on functions of a human digestive system with a blank for students to complete. So the quality of the question depends on the quality of your prompt, okay? And you will find out that in most cases, using things like this, it gives you very, very interesting questions that you can use. But it's going to pull this information from its own general database that it has been trained on from all the sum total of information available. Same goes with true or false question. Create a true or false question on this and that, matching questions. So it can come and you can easily plug these questions into your learning management system, LMS, that people use today, things like Moodle, Blackboard, or Canvas, or whatever they are. Once you get them, they are ready. So these are things we may want to look at, some of the prompts. And you just prompt them, just make sure it's being prompted well, and then you get what it's helpful. Okay, so this is the GISC article. I think I have another one. So ChatGPT prompts to generate assessment questions with examples for teachers. So these are some other prompts. This one is trying to now give you different parameters that you can include in your prompting. So when you prompt, because the knowledge base is so high, you need to be specific. Again, the quality of your prompt determines the quality of the output you get. So the more specific you're able to give the language model, the better. So here, it's even better. It says you are an expert teacher, skilled in producing detailed, authentic, and correct student assessment. Use the provide reference materials, whatever, to create 5 multiple choice questions appropriate for grade 10. Each question should have 4 options provided. So it's a little bit, you are giving it more context. You are telling it to take up a role. Okay. So it gives something like this. So, and then, so you are giving it parameters, number of questions it should do, the grade it should do, and then the role it should take. So you can improve your prompt by that, and you get more tailored references. So moving on, I think I should just, because of time, there is also this document which I think it's very helpful for us, that can help us to prompt ChatGPT and get responses. So this is generally for teaching and learning, and we may have seen it. I think it's been circulated around the internet regularly. So use ChatGPT to create quizzes. So create a quiz with this understanding of a concept, and quite a lot that one cannot go on. So for assessment, even for classroom management, and even students using it to learn as well. So this, of course, will be available for us that we can use. So let me quickly go back to the PowerPoint and continue from there. So the first use case I've just demonstrated is just putting in this prompt. And you and I, of course, you and I can easily do that. And then we will find it straightforward. All right, so case study 2 is, supposing you have a course material, which is similar to the first one. How do you do it? So of course you can generate any type of question that we want, true or false, fill in the blank, matching, and all. For a course material, for us to do that, you have to get the course material itself and upload it even online. So if I have, for instance, a course material like this, so this is a course material from the National Open University that has several stuff. The large language models now make it so easy. Gone are the days, or at least where you have to say you want to get hundreds of experts. You still use experts, but you don't need so many people to be able to set questions from this text. So this is our course material, is what we use for our students, and we want to get questions from it. So how do we do it practically? So we just come to ChatGPT as you do, and you upload the question. So if I say upload this from the computer, oh, sorry, you are not seeing my screen again. So let me go back to my screen. Okay. Are we back on?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. So I'm here on the ChatGPT page. So I want to use it to get questions from my course material. So all I just need is to upload it. So I'm going to upload it from my bed 111 module. So, and it's there. Okay, so I'll just ask a simple questions, generate 10 MCQ, maybe 5 MCQs from this document. Again, it's simple, very straightforward. Of course, I can refine my text, but out of time, even this will give me something that is reasonable. Now I can vary the type of question. I can say at an advanced level, at an intermediate level, or at a very easy level. So that's another parameter I'm giving it. I can even say at undergraduate level if I want to make it really interesting. Interesting, I can also add that for each wrong or correct answer, give me feedback. So this can help me generate, why is Alan Turing wrong? Who developed QWERTY typewriter in 1837? This is straight from the document. It's not picking it from the knowledge base that ChatGPT has. It's using the material that, the course material that Noun has developed and that they are training students on, okay? So just now, just within a second or so, I mean a minute, under a minute, it has given me 5 questions. Even if I said 20, it will do that. And if I want the feedback, it will put it. And one can put it, and students can use it to learn. So this is custom questions being generated. So the same thing can go for filling the blanks and the other question type. So this is a very, very important use case for developing questions for our course materials. You just upload them and then they are ready for the students to use. Okay, so let me go back to the presentation. And then the next one, this next part, it's moving into the elephant in the room, which is when you have essay questions, how do you want to grade them? Okay, automatically, because you require students to write or they've written, and then you either scan them to text or they typed it and you want to grade them. How do you do that using ChatGPT or any of the LLMs? This is important, for instance, in the context of Noun, where you have thousands of students, hundreds of thousands, 100,000 students, for instance, in a registered semester. And you have, let's say, any of the general study courses where you can have 10,000 students, okay? Of course, we use multiple choice questions to try and cater for very large classes, but you can go further than that and use essay type questions and use ChatGPT to mark, okay? So how can you do that? Anyway, briefly, this will help us to do time-consuming tasks and to reduce inconsistency and bias if we use ChatGPT. It will also help us to give detailed feedback to students, okay? And ChatGPT is very helpful in doing that. So how do you do it? One, there are 2 ways. The first is when you give a student questions to answer, and they've written the 300, 2,000 words question and submitted them. You can copy the 2,000 words question, give it a prompt and say, okay, mark this based on the marking criteria that I'm providing you, okay? So what that means is you will say, okay, mark if it gives this answer, this concept, this, that, and that, and that, and it will do it. But the challenge with marking that way, that is copying the students or the response into ChatGPT and giving it a rubric to use, is that if there are 6,000 students, you have to do it 6,000 times. Or if you reduce it, you can pack 10 responses at a time and give it for it to give you output. It can still be time consuming and prone to mistakes. So what these large language models have done is they've given us something they call APIs, application programming interface. So those people in computing or anybody actually can apply that API and use it to mark a large number of student scripts, okay? And it will return the answer and remarks to you within a short while. So it's a little bit involving, but it is very, very helpful in a case where you have large number of students to mark. And I know I'm running short of time, but I'll just quickly demonstrate how this can be done in a program. Okay, so let me make sure my screen is up again. Okay, so pardon me if this sounds a little bit complex, but I want to use an example of a course that is testing out this model, I'll say. So students were asked to submit, let's say, a concept note or to write a report, 500 report, and it has different sections. Project title, this, a total of 500 marks, okay? So this is the rubric. So you want to evaluate the submissions and grade them accordingly, okay? So that at the end of the grading, you should have an overall score, and you should also have 3 or 4 sentence remarks. Briefly explain why marks were deducted, and if possible, show how the work may be improved. Okay, this is helpful for, you're now telling ChatGPT to analyze the student submission based on a rubric you have given it, and then to give you suggestions on how to improve it or to give a score, okay? Now, this is usually what we do. And when you have 1,000 students, 2,000 students, 3,000 students, it becomes a 3 months work to do it. But ChatGPT can help. So what ChatGPT can do, or these API things can do, is it can help you extract those information into like a text file, okay? And then you
Sorry,
connect
Dr.
it.
Adesina, are you able to put it in light view? I know this is dark view.
Uh, yeah,
Some people.
yeah, okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'll have to do some settings that may take
Oh,
time.
okay, okay. Maybe when you send the file, then people can tweak it to their
Yeah,
need.
I can do a screenshot of it, no problem.
Okay.
So, but this is not, this is a program. I'm actually a programming interface. I'll show you what I mean now. So it's a Python program. So, but it's just to show you what you can use ChatGPT to do. If I go to, this is how the program itself looks like, okay, that is doing all the work. So it connects to the API of the language model. It takes a CSV file, that's an Excel file, and it's all this code just tells it that, okay, grade the following participant response, provide a score, and blah, 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 give us a response. So this is the code that is connecting to the large language model to do the marking so that we don't do it one by one. Okay, I'm just using this as a kind of demonstration to show the possibility of doing it. So this code, I know it's not, I mean, it can be given to anybody to use, and we can even get it done. So when this code finishes its work, I'll just show you the output, I think. The output that it gave. So when you are trying to mark 5,000 records, and for this particular use case, there were almost 3,000 submissions. Okay, so this is what ChatGPT, actually this was one of the large language models, gave. So it will give this score, and it gave you the perfect response, okay? Like it will tell you excellent submission, this was well structured, blah, blah, blah. And if there's need for review or something, it will also bring it out. And it can be very helpful for people to know, like this one, it says the budget summary could be more detailed. providing a breakdown. So immediately you could give this feedback to students or give some grades. So this is an example of how you can use ChatGPT for grading. So 5,000 responses was finished within 1 day. So you can imagine a use case of now where students are submitting this and you are paying hundreds of, I mean, literally millions. Well, you still pay, but somebody has to check. Anyway, let me go on because I know we'll have questions. Already hands are up. Sorry if I missed anybody. I'm just near to the end now. Let me go back to my screen. I think I've lost that page.
I hope you can wrap up in another 5 minutes, please.
No, I'll wrap up in less than that.
Thank you.
If I can get back to my screen, which is proving difficult. So I'll just share this view. Okay, so these are the ethical consideration because this is an ethics course. Okay, what do we look at? We must make sure that we're using OpenAI, other language models. We must make sure that our data storage, any data that is uploaded, at least it's stored correctly. User privacy is important. It's not helpful to just upload any record, especially if it's a student record, without, for instance, letting them know that this is the case. And then AI too can be biased. For instance, this particular article showed that AI discriminated against non-native English speakers in a study. And I read that study and I found out why. It's a long story, but I mean, if you can have a look at it, you learn a lot. That because some students are not able to speak good, I mean, perfect English, they use very common words. So those common words make some AI detectors flag them as AI work. So those are issues that comes about. And then there is also concerns about AI replacing human judgment. So the best thing is, let's think about the ethics as we do these things. AI is, of course, is there to augment. We'll make sure that privacy is respected, as students' rights and the university rights are doing that. And then there's a need to be a balancing between AI capabilities with human expertise. Even though the AI can give us all those results within 1 hour, you probably need to spend the next 5-6 hours making sure that what it gives out is correct. Okay, either by doing some random sampling or by doing a lot of checks. And in a lot of times you have to correct the AI so that it gets better. However, it's much, much shorter than when you have to do the whole thing yourself. Okay. I think I'll just stop here because that's the gist of what I've done. So I've tried to explain 3 practical use cases of AI just by using simple prompts to generate questions, which we all do as academics. And the first one was general questions. The second one was generating questions based on a specific context, our course material, our course resources, or something we have developed, or even our PowerPoints, or even something that we have taught in class, so that you don't go outside the scope. Then I now used the third aspect, the third use cases. When you have large number of things to mark, and it's textual based, it's not multiple choice. What are the options? So these language models give you API connections that once you put in a simple program, it will analyze all those responses, and within a short while, you get the results. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adesina. Thank you very much for this presentation. I'm sure that I speak the mind of everybody when I say thank you for this insight that you have brought into the situation. I'll not go too much into a review of what Dr. Adesina has presented, so we'll just go into the Q&A quickly. We have 2 hands up, so just take them in clusters as they come in, then you can attend to them. So Aderonke Agbo, please ask your question. Please, let's go straight to the point so that there can be more opportunities for people.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Adesina, for the expository lecture. My own concern is that when you upload either your PowerPoint or your lecture materials into the large language model, does it not now become a storage procedure of the, does it now not become part of the large language model? And then if that is the case, when students now try to use it, are they not going to get answer to these questions that you have set? Thank you.
Okay, very good question.
Okay, thank you. Let's ask the next person. Olubunmi Fadipe Joseph. Next question. Yes.
She has one of my questions. So the second one is that, is it only Word documents that one can upload? For example, in mathematics, we prefer to upload PDF because equations may scatter when you upload a Word document. So is it only Word documents? Can we upload PDF?
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Israel Taiwo, please unmute and ask your question.
You are muted.
You are speaking. Yeah, you're not unmuted. So.
Oh, I'm sorry, please.
That's
I was asking that. Could you please give a short explanation of how to use PyCharm and the large language model API as it displayed now for grading essay questions? Just how to link those two things.
Okay.
Maybe a short explanation or a short document for that. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
All right. So we'll take those first three, and then we'll come back to the others. Or do you want to take everything?
No, let me take this through before I forget.
That's fine. That's fine. Yes.
Yeah. So the first one is you upload a PowerPoint. Is it stored permanently in the large language models storage memory, and then will students not now even get the fact that your lecture, that your data is not accessible to them? The answer is not exactly, because when you upload, and we've checked some of these things, when you set up your large language model, there are some settings you give it that the documents, even the charts or the prompts you give it, should be personalized to you, should not be accessible, or should not be used to train the model. Okay, so there are some information that you want retained in your account. That's why when you sign in with your Google, or you sign in with your email address, it verifies who you are. Okay, so some things are retained in your account. So that's up to you. So, but however, you can click a button that says, use my data to train the model so that it gets better. And that's helpful in some instances, especially when you want to contribute to improving how it behaves or the general database. Say, for instance, you are teaching Yoruba, and Yoruba data is not that prevalent in the internet. So, and you have a Yoruba document with you. When you upload it to somewhere like ChatGPT, it's always advisable you click that, please include this Yoruba document into the large language model database somewhere, so that it learns Yoruba and helps other Yoruba people. So that's a possibility, but it's a choice you can click on or off. But even when you put it to the large language model, for instance, you say, let it retain it, will your students be able to get access to it? Not really, because as you know, for every prompt you give, you probably have a different response, and it aggregates from so many data, so many parameters, except it knows that, or you wrote somewhere to the large language model that this is an upload from Professor Aderonke Agbo, and when students ask for it, give them this data. And it doesn't even work that way. So it's very difficult to trace some of those data exactly back to you that way. So in a way, I say, if you are concerned, don't tick that information should be used to train the model. But even when you tick, it's just less than a drop in the ocean of what it will use today. You run the same prompt, it gives you 10 different responses, you know. So that's what I would say regarding that. And then the second question about Word documents and equations and things like that. The good thing about these large language models is that they are perfectly handling these issues. In fact, I use PDF most of the time. I upload with PDF some materials I need to interrogate, okay? And it works perfectly with PDF. It works with equations. In fact, it works with code. If you are teaching computer science or whatever, and then you put a block of code that is so confusing, I mean, it will be able to explain to you what the code does or what it's doing. So that's telling you that it's really come of age. In fact, the challenge you most times have is that the document you upload may be too large, so you have to break it down. Okay, then the third one is, how do you use the LLM to grade? I can briefly describe it, but to show, because of time, and then for me to break it down in a way that everybody understands, it may be challenging. So, but I will just say this, that this use case I've done was Word documents were uploaded. So we used a Python program to open all those Word documents, copy out all those data, put them inside Excel, send the Excel to the large language model, and told to use the prompt to grade them and give us the results and the comments. So that's the flow. So the rest thing, the in between is a bit technical stuff, but it gave very, very interesting results, and it helped us to accomplish quite a lot. What would have taken us literally days to do was all achieved within a few days. But of course, such conversations we can continue to have after now. I would advise that if you are at least a little bit, you want to explore that more, just search and look for API, how to use API, OpenAI's API, that's application programming interface for grading. It will now give you the step-by-step procedure. I hope that helps.
Thank you very much. We'll just take this next three, and that will be all for this session. So anybody who raises up their hands after this will not accommodate. Salisu Zain, please unmute and ask your question.
Yes, good evening. I can see that if you are using AI to mark an essay responses, it must be loaded with digital response in that case. And you have also talked about, let's say, about 100,000 student responses that can be uploaded. It means using 100,000 students, it means you need about 100,000 sets of computers to write the responses. Is there no any situation whereby an AI can transliterate the response on paper? Maybe you scan student response and then AI will transliterate and then assess the response, or you have to use computer all the way or any other digital.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That's clear.
Okay.
The next
Wasila Sada, please unmute and ask your question.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you very much, sir. My question is, when, like you said, I think this AI, they have room for audio. Can you, for example, if you want to mark an essay, can you read out a student's question and you expect it to mark it? Is this possible? Thank you, sir.
Just let me get the clarity. Did the student submit an audio, or you are the one reading it to the AI to grade?
Yes, whatever direction, if the student submit audio or if you read it and record the responses.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Ilesami Olofintue.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the presentation, sir. I came in very late, but where I met you was actually the area where you're using the LLM to grade, where you're explaining that to us how to use the grade, and I was so fascinated about that. But unfortunately, because we missed that, I will just seek your indulgence to please probably create a kind of a flow where how these processes were achieved using your case study. So we can definitely revert to that and use it to also assist ourselves while we want to go through it. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir.
Thank you for the questions. Dr. Adesina, there is a concern in the chat, which I'd like to read out.
Yes, please.
Beatrice Olajide is concerned that using ChatGPT to generate questions from course materials will mean that students can predict what will likely come out in the exam since they have access to the same materials and are also technologically advanced. That's the students. So maybe you can make a comment about that.
Yes.
I'll also say before you answer the question that the recording of this session will be posted on the platform. So anybody who did not hear what he said can definitely watch and follow the process he described. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will start with the last one. Since the course materials is there and you uploaded the generated questions from it, will it not make it easy for the students as well because they have access to the same course material and they have access to ChatGPT? I'll say yes, that's very true in both cases. And in fact, it's encouraged, to be honest. Why you are giving them course material so that there will be an area of focus for them. Okay. I'll tell you that if you run the same set of questions, like say generate 20 questions from this course material, and it generates for you, and a student uploads this same course material and generates 20 questions, I can tell you 1 in a million, the questions will not be the same. It will never be exactly the same. It may be the same concepts, but in different ways, but it will never be the same. So if the student uses it as a method to learn, I will even encourage it. It's just like when we say create a question bank, create 1,000 questions in a question bank. Even give students the question banks. Let them read the 1,000 students and learn the questions and the answers. By the time a student goes through 1,000 questions, 1,000 answers, and is able to understand it, you have achieved the goal of the learning process, which is not to fail the student, but the students to learn. So if a student uses ChatGPT to interrogate and understand your course material even better, and even asks ChatGPT to give me 10 questions from this, and ChatGPT gives the student 10 questions, and the student learns it, and it comes to exam and is able to, your own generated question is able to answer it, then he knows something. And I bet you even don't use ChatGPT, create your own questions yourself. Once that student has learned from what ChatGPT has given it, it will also answer your handcrafted immediate question that you generated from there. So it's a win in both ends. It's not to make life complex and difficult. So that's my response to that. I think it's encouraging. I mean, it's like the JSA approach, embrace in such a way that students are able to leverage on it to learn. And then you, as a lecturer, you reduce your workload as well by creating better test items and also be able to grade things faster so that you can do other things. Okay, then the question that has to do with, I think, what was it? Audio. No, was it audio or the transcription? I can't remember exactly, but the first one was that, okay, you have 1,000 written questions. What are your options in grading them? I think there are different pathways you could go. You could scan those questions to text rather than typing them. Typing them would be a waste of time. If your students had computers in the first place and you give them computers to type their responses, that would be great. Okay. But if they don't have computers and it is something they have handwritten, there are very interesting gadgets these days that will do scan to text. So it will scan those, understand those handwriting, put it to text. There may be errors here and there, but you don't have to do anything. You just pass them through the machine. Okay, so that means you have to invest in that kind of machine. And if it's very large, it means you have to invest on a better machine, not the one you'll be opening page by page, because that will also take time. Everybody is fast-paced world now. You don't want to be doing so many things manually. So you want a situation where you just put in a student's question paper, it scans it, generate it to text, save it as the student's name, and then you can use it, pass it to the next stage for grading. Okay, so that's what I would say regarding that. There's a possibility you don't have to do it manually. Then the one that has to do with audio, you can ask the students to submit audio, or you dictate and create an audio of the student submission if you so wish, or you even want to give an instruction to ChatGPT. But when you have an audio device, what you need to do is to get the transcript of that audio. I'm not sure, but I know it's possible for you to, I'm not sure it's yet possible, I think, that you upload an audio into ChatGPT and say, transcribe this to text for me and do it. But you don't need ChatGPT for that. There are many, many tools, Otter AI. There are several tools. Even if you put it in YouTube, YouTube can give you a transcript of video, if it's video. Audio too, there are several of them. So all you need to do, feed it into a device, just like you do for the ordinary question paper. Tell it to give you the transcript. So from the transcript, you now feed the transcript into the AI and tell it, okay, this is a student's response. This is my prompt, my grading this thing, grade this for me. And you just sit back and it gives you the result. And then you, of course, you now need to check before you release that. So, and then the third one is the flow for the grading. Like Dr. Felix have said, this will be available, the video will be available. But what I've just showed you, actually, it's a whole lot of process. So I can sketch the process, but like I said, it's well documented. A lot of these things are well documented on the internet. So I'll try and get some of those links and include it so that you can study more about it. But it's not complex at all. It's just for you to understand the workflow and then get the script to do it. And I'm telling you, to get easier by the day. So thank you very much. I think we're just at the nick of time.
The audio question, okay, yeah. The audio question has been responded to. Thank you so much. I think I speak the mind of everybody when I say that really appreciate Dr. Adesina for this insightful presentation and the even more detailed responses that he has provided to all our listeners. Please let's appreciate him with our electronic applause. Thank you so much for this. We hope that Dr. Adesina, if your schedule permits, you also join on the discussion platform to share some of these insights with the respondents, as I'm sure that a lot of our participants will be interested in learning more from you on the discussion forum online. The discussion forum opens in the next half hour on the platform, as well as the quizzes for the week will also start. I encourage everybody to ensure that you attend to the quizzes for the week. The quiz for each week starts and goes on for 2 weeks after it would, close. And you know that next week is the last week for this course.